Hello and welcome to a special edition of The Big Fight, coming to you live from New Delhi. We've been hearing so much about the 2G scam now for months and months and months, and now finally it's moving towards some sort of a climax with the arrest of Mr. Raja and two others. But I have to say that there are still many people who remain somewhat confused about the scam. What exactly was it? What happened? And we are now having further aspects, further issues raised to this, with the UPA in particular saying that the real person, people who should take the blame for this, is the NDA. The NDA immediately saying that all that they are trying to do really is diversionary tactics. So over the next 1 hour, we're going to try and understand a little bit more about the scam itself, and also try and figure out what exactly happened. Who was to blame? Was it Mr. Raja? Was it by himself? Were the other people who knew what was happening who should get their share of the blame? Where does the NDA fit into all this? And by the way, are there other scams as well that we should be talking about that we don't know about? And that's just in the telecom sector. I'd like to start by welcoming all our guests. So we're going to be joined in just a minute or two by Rajeev Chandrasekhar, Rajya Sabha MP, understands the sector really well and has dived into this with both feet. Again, is talking about all sorts of aspects of this scam that are not really being discussed too much in the public domain. So actually, before I come to all the politicians, why don't I just spend a few minutes with both of you to try and figure out what actually was the scam about? And is there just one scam, or was there a series of scams out here, potentially perhaps starting way back, a decade ago? Rajiv, why don't you go first?
Okay. Vikram,
words are one syllable so all of us can understand.
Yeah, okay, I'll try and keep this as simple as uncomplicated as possible. The scam is like this. There is something called spectrum, which is obviously in limited supply and is a naturally scarce resource that belongs to the government of India. Spectrum is something that all telecom companies need to run their services. The scam arises when there is a finite amount of spectrum and there are more people who want it. And you start giving this scarce resource in a manner to your selected few people without giving an equitable opportunity to all who want it.
Which would have happened if you were auctioning it.
Exactly.
That's the alleged Raja scam.
Correct.
In 2007,
Correct.
2008.
Correct.
Is that the only issue that has come up, or have there other charges that have been going around which date back to 2000, 2001? What happened
In
there?
a nutshell, the telecom sector has seen many scams. I mean, if you go back all the way to Sukram, you will see scams. And then there have been, let's say, irregularities throughout the history of telecom. And I've been an entrepreneur all those years, so I have, in a sense, a bird's eye view of that. All of this relates to one simple proposition. How do I get a license without paying for the license what it is truly worth? So you either create an argument of saying this is not a cellular license and then call it a fixed license and get into it that way, or you get, like I said, bypass a regular, rational process of bidding for it.
But is it your assessment that this has been happening for a decade, including in the NDA years?
Well, what I'm saying is that this fight for spectrum has been around for some while. But what we are seeing in 2007, 2008
took it to a whole new level.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not at all surprised if anyone says that.
Both of you, and then I want to come to the other charges that are now being made by Kapil Sibal and others, that actually this is just an extension of a range of policy malaise that goes all the way back. But first, on this specific question.
No, I completely agree with Dr. Swami. I think, the spin in the last 1 month is tending to distract us from what the real objective should be. There is a scam right in front of us. Whether A was aware, B was aware, fully aware, unaware, these are matters of detail that history can judge or we can judge later on. The most important issue right now is to finish this investigation, identify the perpetrators, and like Dr. Swami says, get the money back to where it belongs, which is the government of India.
Gopal Jain, welcome back to The Big Fight. I think we have just about enough time to try and get some final, very quick, hopefully mercifully brief comments from all of our panelists now. And I'm going to start with you.
Okay, I'll make it brief.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad someone's going to listen to me today.
Vikram, my own view is that this scam is an unprecedented white-collar crime with the active connivance of people in the DOT. It must be investigated the perpetrators must be identified and punishment meted out to all of the conspirators, including the beneficiaries, if we are to send a signal that this country has had enough of this nonsense and we don't want this kind of corruption to continue.